Hey, Beastista here, and welcome to the final week of the VDL. So, we are officially out of the playoffs. However, there is something that we are fighting for that will make this season somewhat successful, if not completely successful, which is Crustle is currently in contention to be the kill leader of the VDL. I'm currently only competing with Celestilla and Moltres, pretty much, and all three of us have yet to have stats for our battle yet. So, the hope is to get maybe 6 or 7 kills and get a win here to have a nice finishing of the season and give me a good chance to possibly win in the kill leader. However, we are playing against the Sulfix Suicunes, who are currently in a playoff spot hunt, and they will be very incentivized to try to win in any way they can, because if a win, they are almost guaranteed or very likely to get a playoff spot. If you look over here at me, I'm at 2-5, and so I'm not doing great, but I would definitely like a win here because 3-5 is a lot better than 2-5, and with a little bit of better luck, I probably could, or a little bit better gameplay, I probably would be very close to a 4-4 or maybe even a 5-3. So, if you do not want to look at the team report, check the description in the video, and you can get a timestamp to the first match. So, let's look at the matchup. So, looking on the right, this is my opponent's team. I can't fit it all on one screen, but you can kind of see it as I scroll down. So some of the noteworthy things are, in my mind, Aerodactyl and Terrakion as the main Dynamax and damage threats, because they both have rock damage, which hits most of my team for super effective. Aerodactyl also has fire coverage, and Terrakion also has steel coverage. And so they can hit almost everything, if not literally everything on my team. In addition to that, Aerodactyl also gets Tailwind, which allows most of their team to outspeed the entirety of my team. And additional, Aerodactyl also outspeeds Rubombi, which is pretty noteworthy. Other than that, some noteworthy Pokemon are Kangaskhan and Hitmonchan, who both learn Fake Out, and Chandelure and Gardevoir, both learning Trick Room, and I think both of them learning Imprison. And so that can help make it difficult for me to set up Trick Room. Other than that, Scissor with priority Bullet Punch can be a little bit annoying, but for the most part, the ones I mentioned are the big ones that are noteworthy. So looking at their team, some of the big starts I would expect is maybe something like Aerodactyl and Kangaskhan, so Fake Out and then Tailwind as a lead, or maybe Kangaskhan Terrakion with Fake Out and Dynamax. Kangaskhan could have Choice Scarf and Beat Up, which could increase Terrakion's attack by +4 pretty quickly. And so those are kind of some of the big ones that I'm expecting. So looking at my team, as previously mentioned, Crustle is the main Pokemon that I'm going to try to build around and trying to support. So if we look at our previous weeks, I've tried stuff like Weak Armor, I've done stuff like Shell Smash, and I don't think either of those are particularly good this week because they have Tailwind and they have a very consistent Tailwind, there isn't much reason for me to believe that Crustle will outspeed their team even at +2 speed. And so the best way in which I think I'm going to get speed control is probably going to be Trick Room, or I just need to accept I don't get speed control. And so with that, I think it's best for me to get a bulky Crustle. Going into some of the support Pokemon, we can see that Rubombi is good because it can't be faked out, but it's slower than Aerodactyl, which makes it a little bit questionable. Pheromosa is faster than their entire team, but it can be faked out, and so it's a little bit questionable there. And, other than that, like Volcarona is very powerful if they don't have something like safety goggles, but if they have safety goggles, it can kind of literally be doing almost nothing. And then Dodler is my main Trick Room setter, or is my only Trick Room setter, and if I think I can get Trick Room up, it can be really useful, but it'll be hard to get up Trick Room because they have 2 Pokemon with Fake Out, and I have no way to prevent Fake Out. So those are kind of some of the thoughts that crossed my mind, and so this is the team that I'm bringing this week. So here we see we have a Weakness Policy Crustle with Shell Armor, and it has 0 speed with max HP and max attack. So the idea is that it will be bulky, prevents getting hit by crits, and we can, when it Dynamaxes, we also get Stomping Tantrum, which allows us to do max Quake and get special defense boosts. Heavy Slam, which lets us do Max Steel Spike, which lets us get defense boost. And then we also have Rock Wrecker and Rock Slide, which are both rock moves, which gets us the Sand, which can help increase our special defense, but also just do good damage. Rock Wrecker is mainly there as our Dynamax move, and then Rock Slide will be mainly there for our non-Dynamax move. We might occasionally use Rock Wrecker outside of Dynamax, but for the most part, it will be, we have a rock move for Dynamax and a rock move for outside of Dynamax. So if we look below it, Ribombee will be one of its main partners. There's some other partners, but mainly Ribombee, which will have Shield Dust, which prevents it from being faked out. In addition, it has enough speed to outspeed everything except Aerodactyl, and I gave it max defense to guarantee survive a Rock Slide from an Aerodactyl. In addition, it has Pollen Buff Speed Swap, so Speed Swap allows Crustle to become really fast. And in addition to that, we decided to give it Ally Switch. I don't like Ally Switch. I've never used Ally Switch in a league before, but I really want Crustle to get some kills, and this is a really good way to kind of hopefully get some damage away from Crustle. And then we have Dazzling Gleam as its final move, mainly there to break some Focus Ashes or kill something that was down to Focus Sash. Next, we see Volcarona. Volcarona is another thing that might pair well with Crustle if I think they're going to lead something like Tailwind early on. It's there with Rage Powder. It has a Charty Berry in order to survive some rock slides. Other than that, it's just max HP and max defense because my opponent's team is fairly physical. And then it has Protect, mainly there to for turns in which my opponent leads with Fake Out or something. Below there, we have Pheromosa, which has Coaching to increase Crustle's defense and attack. Speed Swap, and this Speed Swap will make it outspeed everything on my opponent's team that doesn't have a Choice Scarf, or if they don't have Tailwind up. And then Close Combat and Electro, just to do some damage. Close Combat mainly is there for like Terrakion type Pokemon. And then below there, we have Gliscopod. Gliscopod has Aqua Jet, which can activate Crustle's own weakness policy. Wide Guard, which helps cover moves like Rock Slide and Heat Wave, which might happen on Chandelure, and Rock Slide can pretty much be on anything. Sucker Punch, just as a little bit more damage, that's priority. And then Liquidation, which I mainly will click if I am in Trick Room, and it does good damage into some of the big Pokemon like Terrakion and Aerodactyl. And finally, we decided to go with Doddler with an Eviolite, max defense to survive some good, rock slides and other things like that. We have Trick Room, Ally Switch, Reflect, or Psychic, and Helping Hand. Helping Hand helps deal with some damage rolls, specifically max HP Scizor, and Ally Switch for the same reason as Ribombee. I don't like it, but I really want to get some kills with Crustles. So with that, let's get into our matches. So here we are for game one of our match. So looking at my opponent's team, they pretty much have everything I expected to see. I was kind of expecting to see Raikou here, but I'm not super surprised it didn't come. So I'm currently thinking of what Pokemon I want. I'm thinking the main leads are Crustle, Ribombee, Volcarona, Crustle, or Volcarona, Doddler. I'm unsure what the best lead is here. So I decided to go with Ribombee, Crustle. The reason mainly being that they have double Fake Out and Hitmonchan and Kangaskhan, so I think it's pretty likely that they lead Fake Out. And I decided to bring Gliscopod because in playtesting, Gliscopod was very impressive. And I'm debating between Pheromosa and Volcarona on the back. I end up deciding to just go with Volcarona because I think its redirection is the best way to make sure Crustle gets as many kills as possible. And so if you look right here, the clock is running really low, and it looks like they did not make it. So I'm expecting them to time out. So if they leave Scissor Chandelure, I think that they likely timed out. So they do end up leading Scissor Chandelure. So I'm almost 100% sure that they timed out, which means that if we check their Pokemon, we can know exactly which Pokemon they have in the pack. So I check their Pokemon, we see Aerodactyl and Terrakion are the Pokemon in the back. So here, assuming that Chandelure doesn't have a Choice Scarf, Speed Swap and Max Rock Ball is the very easy way to kill the Chandelure. I'm debating between Max Quake just in case it has like a rock resist berry, but I'm checking the damage calcs. And Rockfall actually has a pretty good chance to one-shot Chandelure even if it has the rock resist berry, and I would like to get up to Sand, and it also is best with switch ends too. So I end up Dynamaxing Crustle. So they Bullet Punch into Ribombee, and I have the Battery Berry, and so I'm definitely not going to die to this, which is really nice. And Scissors Life Orb, which is noteworthy. So we get the Speed Swap off, which means Chandelure is not a Choice Scarf, which is very good, because now that means I get a kill on Chandelure if it's not Focus Sash, and even if it is Focus Sash, it will die because of the rock. So as they are Focus Sash, so we get a kill, Ribombee's alive, and Crustle is faster than their entire team except for Aerodactyl. So they bring in Terrakion, and so here I'm deciding between Dazzling Gleam, which does pretty good damage in Terrakion, or just doing an ally switch, or switching out into a different Pokemon. I decided to just go with the ally switch because I would like to get a weakness policy activated on my Crustle if possible, and I decided to max Steel Spike and Terrakion because if I get the weakness policy, it guarantees one shots max Terrakion, and if it doesn't Dynamax, I kill max Terrakion, and also I get the defense boost seems very relevant because I killed their only special attacker. So we ally switched, and they did not protect, and they did not Dynamax Terrakion, which is pretty good. And we kill Terrakion and get the defense boost. Feeling pretty good about it. And they also didn't Bullet Punch, so I'm assuming that I'm going to get a flying move into my spot. And they do end up dueling into the Crustle spot. I'm assuming they were expecting me to hard switch out into something like one of my other Pokemons because Ribombee is so slow right now and doesn't do much. So here, I honestly don't feel too concerned about Aerodactyl because I do have Gliscopod in the back, so I decided I'm just going to kill the Scizor if I can, and do a Dazzling Gleam as a means to break like a weakness policy on the Aerodactyl or something. They end up Dynamaxing the Aerodactyl, and they Max Guard, which would be really good, but they also protect the Scizor. So they're stalling out my last turn Dynamax, which makes sense. And Max Rockfall should do reasonable damage, but it's, definitely won't kill. At this point, I'm a little bit sad that I didn't kill Ribombee off or trade it out at some point, but I'm feeling okay. Because Rock Slide should definitely kill this, or has a chance to kill Scizor, and if I activate a weakness policy, it 100% kills it. And I'm debating between Ally Switch, switching out, maybe Polypuffing into the Crustle. I decide that I'm just going to Ally Switch because if they Bullet Punch into the Crustle spot, I think Crustle can take a Max Rockfall, but not a double up. And the hope is that they're going to do at least one attack into the Crustle spot. Or one of their two attacks not into the Crustle spot. And so we ally switch. And Ribombee does take a Bullet Punch, which is unsurprising. And the ally switch ended up working out perfectly. And so now it's a chance to see if Max Rockfall will kill the Crustle at +1 defense. Crustle takes it just barely, but I'm pretty happy with that, and I get the weakness policy, and I should definitely kill the Scizor if I hit it. I get the double hit, and almost one-shot a Dynamax Aerodactyl, and so Crustle's got 3 kills, and now Aerodactyl is in Aqua Jet range. However, I'm going to bring out Volcarona instead of Gliscopod, because I want to see if Aerodactyl has safety goggles. And so I'm going to do Rage Powder to kind of see if it does have safety goggles, because Aerodactyl definitely can kill Volcarona if it wanted to. And I'm checking the accuracy to see if Rock Wrecker or Rock Slide has more accuracy. They're the same accuracy, and I've already revealed Rock Slide, so that's Rock Slide. So it's really nice to see that Volcarona does not die to a max airstream off of that. And also, at this point, I'm pretty sure Aerodactyl does not have safety goggles. And Crustle gets the kill, which is really exciting. We get our first win, but not only did we get our first win, Crustle also got four kills in our first win. So let's get into our second game. So with how well that went for me game one, I think that my opponent's going to be prepared for the Crustle Rubambi lead, so I decided to just do Volcarona down there and Crustle and Gliscopod in the back. So I went very quickly because I'm like, I felt really good about that last game. I think they're going to have to do something about it, so I'm going to do the opposite direction. My opponent leads Aerodactyl Hitmonchan, which is, honestly, I'd rather have seen this lead if I'd let the Rubambi, but I don't feel terrible. So I'm assuming my dollar's going to be faked out, but I don't have Protect, so I might as well just take Trick Room, because if they hop into fake out something else, I'm okay. And then I decide to Will-O-Wisp the Aerodactyl to prevent some damage, because it's one of the big damage dealers. Set of Stealth Rock, which is very surprising, since I have not seen that in VGC pretty much in a long time, if ever. They end up Rock Slide instead of Fake Out, which is really nice for me, because if I don't get a flinched here, I get Trick 'em Up. And I missed the Will-O-Wisp, but I do not flinch, so I do get Trick 'em Up. So that's something good, but it's a little bit annoying that I missed the Will-O-Wisp. So I decided to just fight Psychic to hit my Hitmonchan. Should do pretty good damage. And I'm debating between another Will-O-Wisp or a Heat Wave or a Protect. I decide that I should just Protect, because if Dodler goes down here, I'm pretty happy with Volcarona being paired next to Volcarona being paired next to Crustle. So I Protect with Volcarona and Psychic into Hitmonchan. We see that Hitmonchan does get killed by two Psychics, which is nice. They Rock Slide, which is unsurprising. Doesn't do much damage into the Dodler. And then they Rock Slide with the Aerodactyl. And Dodler survives, which honestly I think I would consider as negative. I would have rather it died there. So here I decide, okay, Psychic is an easy hit. It's gonna kill it, and I decide to Will-O-Wisp into the Aerodactyl again. I was debating between Heat Wave, but I decided to just go with Will-O-Wisp. They withdrew Hitmonchan, which is not super surprising. And they bring in Scizor, which makes me a little bit sad, because if I would have Heat Waved with the Volcarona here, I would have probably just one-shot the Scizor, which would have been really nice. My Will-O-Wisp missed again, which is really annoying. That means the Aerodactyl is a viable Dynamax threat in the end game. And they get the double KO, which probably would have happened regardless, but definitely a little bit sad, because also I'm expecting Aerodactyl to be Focus Sash right here, and it still has the Focus Sash intact, even though I did two moves into it. So I bring in Gliscopod and Crustle, which is my back two. And we see that these Stealth Rocks do a lot of damage into my Pokemon, because they're both weak to Rock. So here I'm deciding between Rock Sliding to deal with the Rock Slide, or Wide Guarding to deal with the Rock Slide, but I decided to just Aqua Jet and Max Steel Spike into the Aerodactyl to guarantee it kills through a Focus Sash. So they withdraw Aerodactyl, and they bring in Terrakion, which I'm very happy to see, because I am more concerned with Terrakion than I am with Aerodactyl. So we Dynamax Crustle. They Protect Scizor, which is very good for me. And that almost would have two-shot by itself. So, yeah. And then we get the max steel spike, so we get the defense boost, and we kill the Terrakion, which is pretty good. They bring in Hitmonchan. And so I'm here debating between whether or not I want to just liquidation to kill Hitmonchan, or if I want to Aqua Jet my own Golisopod, my own Crustle. So the idea is that if Scissors Dynamaxes, I can guarantee kill it if I have a weakness policy activated, but if it doesn't Dynamax, then that would just be wasted damage. So I decided to Liquidation and max Rockfall into the Scissor, which should be fine as long as Scissor doesn't Dynamax. They end up faking out, which means whatever my decision on Golisopod was useless anyways. And this max Rockfall should kill Scizor. And we get the kill. So we're doing okay. We have only one turn of Dynamax left, and we just finished. This was the last turn of Trick Room. And they bring in Aerodactyl. And so I definitely think that the easiest one is just Aqua Jet into the Aerodactyl. And from here, I'm debating between max Steel Spiking and max Rock Falling into Hitmonchan. Max Steel Spike gives him the defense boost, but it's questionable whether or not it would kill the Hitmonchan from this range, because it's not stab and it's resisted. And so I'm doing a damage calc to see if it is, and I end up not having enough time to see whether or not max Steel Spike kills, so I just go with max Rockfall because I know that will kill. And we click the max Rockfall. So we get Aqua Jet, which does really good, and it is a 3-hit KO onto the Dynamax Aerodactyl. And Crustle takes max Rockfall pretty well. And I get my weakness wall activated, which means that if I would have max Steel Spiked, it would have definitely killed Hitmonchan. And we max Rockfall, killing Hitmonchan, and now we are in a pretty good spot with having a 2v1 with both of us having super effective damage into the Aerodactyl. Okay, so here I am deciding whether or not I want to Aqua Jet or Liquidation. Liquidation one-shots Aerodactyl from the spot. However, Aqua Jet gets guaranteed some damage on it. And so 2 Aqua Jets do kill, but 1 Liquidation will kill. And so I'm just deciding which it is, what the best option is. And I decided to just Aqua Jet. And then I'm debating between Wrecker and Rock Slide. They have the same accuracy, and so it doesn't really matter here. I decided to do Rock Slide in case they max guard for some reason, and it made me not be able to attack the following turn. So they Aqua Jet, so Aqua Jet should kill again if they attack my Crustle, and they end up attacking the Golisopod here, which is fair because I do not have a 100% accurate way to kill Aerodactyl. So 10% of the time, 10% of the games they do win this, but I end up getting the 90% to win the game here, and Crustle ends up getting the kill. And not only do we go 2-0, which makes us have a good lead, Crustle got all 8 kills, which puts it really good contention to make it to the kill leader. So hopefully, cross our fingers that Crustle gets the kill lead. I did my best I can, getting 8 kills. And we will see.